I'm not taking my chances after last week. Much better. Let's get to yapping. Hi friends, how you doing today? If you're new here, hi, my name is Blush Between the Covers, and I do my makeup and I talk about small books at the same time. So if you like a bit of makeup, you like a bit of books, you like a bit of yapping, hi, hey, I'm the girly for you. If you don't like makeup though, that's okay. If you don't like books, that's okay. The only thing you're really required to like is yapping. But if you actively hate makeup and you actively hate books, first of all, go get that sorted. And second of all, click off the video. I don't have to be for you, and that's okay. But if you're returning, hey, bestie. Hey. Thanks so much for coming back and hanging out with me today. Today we're going to be talking about Shantel Tessier's The Ritual. I'm so excited to talk about this. This one's been on my noggin pretty heavily lately. I just finished it not too long ago, so I haven't had as much time to sit with my thoughts and feelings as I have some other books that we've been talking about. But without, you know, any further ado, I'm going to clip my hair out of the way, and we're gonna get started talking about it. Okay, I'll catch you on the flip. Alrighty, my hair is clipped out of my face, and I'm ready to go. So, in the ritual, we get two main points of view: one from our male main character Riot, and the other from our female main character Blakely. They both are attending Barrington University, and Riot is part of this. I'm gonna call it a brotherhood, called the Lords, and the Lords are some pretty high and mighty people. Part of Riot's initiation process into this brotherhood is to like beat some of his fellow brothers and like kill the ones that go against their code, their rules, whatever. And then they also have to abstain from schmexy time for 3 years until they're a senior, and by that time they can pick what is called a chosen, which is basically just like a hole to use. um, and they can either choose to share that hole or pass it around. Um, you know what I'm saying. Um, so Riot is in his senior year at Barrington, so he is going to be picking a chosen pretty soon. But before that happens, let me give you some background, a little background story. So the previous year, during Riot's junior year at Barrington, he gets sent on this assignment from the Lords to take out a fellow Lord that, like I said, broke their rules, broke the code, whatever. And it has to be a two-man assignment for whatever reason, even though Riot could get the job done by himself. But it's a two-man job. So Riot gets paired up with somebody that he was friends with at the time, Matt. And Matt is an important character. Okay, so keep this in mind. This is important information. Keep up. Uh, and when they go and get this job done, Riot takes out the guy that they're supposed to, but the guy's in bed with his wife. And obviously, like I said, these guys have to abstain from sexy time for 3 years. Okay? I don't even know people that can go like 3 minutes without some action. So, you know, they're they're riled up. And Matt is ready to get his pee pee wet. So he is ready to grape this unconscious woman. And Riot's like, no, 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 no. First of all, she wasn't part of this assignment. Second of all, no, no. And Matt is like, man, well, I don't care. You can stay or you can go. And Riot's like, no, we gotta go. And the wife ends up waking up and she gets like alarmed. Her husband is dead next to her, and there are two men in like masks and stuff, all covered up, in her room. So she runs out of the room, and Matt chases her, and Riot's like, oh man, like, a fucking course, like, gotta go. And Riot comes out, and Matt's like leaning over the banister of like their stairs, whatever, and the wife is on the floor, dead, bleeding. Um, so that poses quite an issue for them. But they go back, job kind of well done, but not actually, because Matt is a freaking dummy. And they get back to, I don't know, they're like, I don't want to say a headquarters type thing, but I don't know. They get to some important guy's office, and he's like, "What happened? What happened back there?" And Matt doesn't really say much of anything, and Riot isn't gonna rat Matt out, so he just stays quiet. But this mess up really affects the relationship between Riot and Matt. Like I said, they were pretty good friends. And then after that, things soured. So now, flash forward to the present. The relationship between Matt and Riot has not gotten any better whatsoever. And Matt has a girlfriend, Blakely. Like I said, Matt's important because he's Blakely's boyfriend. Okay, so Blakely and Matt have been together for 3 years. So they grew up together, as far as I am aware. And they're supposed to marry each other. Like the lords have arranged marriages. So Blakely and Matt are supposed to get married. That is like the contract, whatever. However, Riot gets assigned to take Blakely as his chosen. What? Insanity. I know. So the guys decide to have this little party, and they make sure that Blakely and her friend Sarah get this flyer for the party that they're throwing called The Ritual. And so Blakely and Sarah go. But before they go, they're talking to this one girl that also goes to school with them, and she's like, "That's gross. Like, you ever hear the story about Tyson and how he had his chosen tied up and gagged in his room while he went to class and whatever, and then he came back, um, and he freaked it with her and whatever." And Sarah's like, well, that doesn't sound too bad. And Blakely's a virgin, so she is, I don't want to say innocent, because she wants Matt to freak it with her so freaking bad. And anytime she tries, he's just like, no, no, mm-mm. I don't think Blakely knows that he's not allowed to do that with her for that time. Um, but even still, like, even before this, he just pushed her off and was like, no, no, we're waiting until marriage. No, 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 no. Um, but Blakely's like, please, why? Um, but anyway, Matt and Blakely have been on some pretty thin ice as of lately. And Sarah's like, let's go. Let's go to this little party. What's the worst that can happen? Whatever. And also, before this party, Blakely runs into Riot in the hallway. and he basically just terrifies the shit out of her. And he's like, better watch where you're going. You know, use your eyes. Come on, little girl. Freaking watch out. But Riot put himself there intentionally. He purposely got in her way so that she would fall and kind of make a fool of herself. Um, because, like I said, Riot gets the assignment to make her his chosen. So, after that, you know, Blakely is kind of on edge and she's like, what the flip? You know, Riot's such a dick, whatever. And Matt comes up too during that time and kind of comes to her rescue, but not really, because Riot's a dick to Matt as well. And Blakely's kind of like, you know, what happened between you two? But Matt won't divulge. He isn't really allowed to talk too much about what happens with the lords and whatever. Only the lords know what goes on, and maybe their ladies, which are the wives of the lords, get to know um, what what goes on. So Blakely gets annoyed because Matt withholds so much information from her about what goes on in the lords, and she's over it. So her and Matt get into a fight naturally. And Matt says that he's gonna go home to Texas for the weekend, spend some time with his fam, and he'll see her on Monday. But when Sarah and Blakely go to this party, who do they run into? Matt. And who's Matt with? Another girl. So Blakely is flippin' pissed, dude. And she gets pissed drunk and she ends up leaving the party. Not like fully leaving the party, but like leaving the dance floor part of the party. And she's walking around clumsily drunk, kind of opening doors, going into rooms, whatever. And she ends up in Riot's room. And Riot follows in behind her, but Blakely thinks that the person that followed her into the room was Matt because all of the lords are wearing masks. So identities are concealed at the moment. So Blakely thinks that it's Matt and he's come to like apologize and make things right, whatever. But no, it's Riot, and Riot has no intention of making things up to Blakely. Um, he has some other plans. So I have to find my powder puff really quick. Give me 1 second. Got it. So as I was saying, Riot has no intention of pretending to be Matt and trying to kiss and make up with Blakely, but Riot freaking has his way with Blakely without, any penetration. And Blakely again thinks that this is Matt, but also realizes that it's not Matt. She has a feeling, very much so, that it's Riot, and kind of knows that it's Riot, but whatever. But Riot makes sure that she goes home, and he brings her home with Sarah and Gunner. Gunner is another fellow lord and also a good friend of Riot's. So he makes sure that the girls get home, and also while he's there, he freaking sets up cameras in Blakely's room. And he's also been watching Blakely from afar because he can see her apartment from outside. Like he can see into the windows and stuff like that. So Riot has had a freaking front row seat to Blakely's life and her routine for quite some time. But Riot sets up cameras anyway so that he can see what goes on the inside. And he takes Blake's underwear as well, little souvenir, little trinket. And he goes on his merry way. So Blakely wakes up the next morning. She's like, "How the hell did I get here? And how's my car here? Like, I don't remember anything." Um, but she does know that her poussoir hurts a little bit, and she remembers that interaction vaguely. But she also finds this little card on her night table that basically says, "Hey, you're a chosen. Come to this address at this time and join us for the actual ritual." So Blakely goes, and again, also too, she's still pissed off at Matt. She's pissed off at Matt for you know cheating on her, and not being very cash money and staying faithful to her. And she's been wondering how long this whole freaking thing has been going on between Matt and Ashley. That is the other girl's name. And so she goes and she's like, "You know what? I'm going to become Riot's chosen, and I'm going to start living life for myself and making the decisions that I want to make." Because before this too, Blakely's mom calls her and she's like, "I heard that you and Matt got into a fight and you embarrassed Matt in front of all his friends." And blah blah blah. And Blakely's like, "Mom, he cheated on me." And she's like, "Okay, and not every relationship's perfect." She's like, "Oh, so you just want me to be with a cheater? You want me to marry a cheater?" And her mom's like, "Well, yeah." Like, what? So Blakely's like, "No, absolutely not." So she is very gung ho on the idea of being Riot's chosen. So she goes to the ritual, and she gets put into cuffs by Riot and gets through her little chosen initiation, which basically they get into this like baptism type bathtub type thing, because this all happens in a cathedral that is owned by the lords. Um, but they've made some adjustments to it so that it better suits their needs. So part of the ritual though is for the lord to pick a hole to use in front of all of the other lords. And Riot knows that Blakely's a virgin, and also Riot is very possessive of Blakely and wants to make sure that nobody sees any of what she's got going on. So he's like, "Yeah, no, you're gonna give me sloppy toppy in this little tub." And then as soon as they're done with that, Riot takes her outside and he's like, "We are going to freak it outside of the cathedral right now." Right, Bug? Right. So Riot takes her V card outside the cathedral. And anybody could see them at any moment, but nobody does. They somehow, some way don't get caught doing the nasty outside the cathedral, which is great because Riot would probably gouge out the person's eyes that saw anything happen. Uh, but after that, freaking Riot continuously has his way with Blakely and is incredibly rough with her. Not that that is a bad thing by any means, because Blakely loves it. But, to Blakely's like, "All right, yeah, well, this is all fine and dandy, but this isn't gonna last. This isn't real." And Riot's also very much like, "Yeah, no, this is just an assignment." But as time goes on, they very much grow feelings for each other. But lots of buts here. Um, Matt comes along and at a party one night basically tells Blakely that everything is all fake and she's just an assignment for Riot and XYZ. And Blake's like, no, 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 you don't know anything. But Matt has tons of information and also is really good at making shit up. So this puts Blakely in this like kind of shitty and panicked spot because she's like, well, what do you mean? And at this time too, like I said, her and Riot have been getting pretty damn close, and Riot buys her essentially off of her parents, well, mainly like her dad, but her dad doesn't want the money. He actually really doesn't want Blakely to marry Matt at all, period. It's Blakely's mom that is very gung ho on Blakely marrying Matt because her and Matt's mom are besties, and this is just the way that it's gonna be. And Matt's gonna overtake um, Blakely's dad's company, and they're gonna have so much money because Matt's family right now is kind of in the hole as far as financials go. So Vivian, um, Blakely's mom, is very much trying to help out her herself and her friend to make everything right in the world. But Blakely again wants no freaking part of any of this. She doesn't want to be with Matt. She does not like Matt. And Matt too is very obsessed with having Blakely. He's like not into her, but also is. He wants to just have her and make her life a living hell, especially now that Riot is with her and keeping Matt from her, and vice versa, keeping her away from him and him away from her. But Matt is one sneaky fucking son of a bitch because he likes to ruin everything. Everything. This freaking guy. He So, all right, hold on. Let me backtrack a little bit. So, like I had said, Blakely and Riot were getting very close, and Riot buys Blakely from her dad. But again, her dad doesn't want the money. He doesn't really care. He just wants his daughter to be safe and to be happy and whatever. So Riot goes through with this deal, and then he comes back to Blakely's apartment. Yes. And he's like, hey, so we're getting married. And she's like, what? Well, he doesn't actually it doesn't really go down that way. They're actually freaking in the bathroom, and Riot's like, marry me. And Blake's like, what? And Riot's like choking her out, and he's like, marry me. And, she's like, okay, sure, yeah, I belong to you. But Blakely wakes up from being choked out consensually, and she sees the ring on her hand. She's like, oh shit. So I guess this is really happening, huh? And so they go through with it, and they get married, and they both play it as like this is just what is happening. There's no feelings here. We're just married. This is just for fun. Money for fun. We're getting money for fun. So there's no I don't want to say there's no feelings because there's tons of feelings. Like, Riot gives Blakely, I don't want to say a false impression, but Riot is falling for Blakely, but he's not going to let her really know that. You know, she's just supposed to be his assignment, but also he is heavily, heavily obsessed with Blakely, and also keeping Matt far away from her. So now going back to Matt ruining everything. So right after they get married, um, Blake and Riot have to go to this like party at the Lord's house, and Matt finds her in Riot's room and tells her everything, that Riot offered money to like buy her off her dad, and now she's pissed because she's like, well, my dad just sold me, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And Riot doesn't care about me. None of this is real. Everything. So Blakely runs away. She's like, you know what? No, 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 no. Uh, and she leaves her phone behind. She leaves everything behind. She skips freaking town and goes to start anew. But she goes to this town, and she gets a job in a dive bar, but with no ID, no nothing on her, and the woman that owns the bar just gives her a job, doesn't ask any questions, is just like, yep, okay, you're hired, see you tomorrow. So Blake is working here for about 3 weeks, and she dyes her hair black so that nobody can recognize her. But I mean, babe, you just dyed your hair like not 2 shades darker. You're not really you're not really doing anything drastic. If maybe you dyed your hair, cut it significantly, and whatever. Sure, yeah, maybe that would pass for something. But anyway, she she tries to, I guess, kind of reinvent herself a little bit during these 3 weeks. But these 3 weeks come to a really shit end because this guy comes into the bar and he's with his friends and he's hitting on Blakely, and he's like, why don't you come out and have a drink with me, or just like come hang out with me after your shift? And she's like, no, I get out pretty late, like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. You don't want to hang out with me at that time. And like I don't know, I don't think my boyfriend would be very happy about this. And the guy, typical, doesn't understand that no means no. Um, it's like, oh, it's cool. I'll wait for you. So exactly that happens. The guy is waiting for her, but he knows who she is, and he was sent to find her, um, and was going to grape her. But who comes and saves the freaking day? Riot and Gunner and Prickett. Prickett is another one of the Lord's and Riot's friends. So they all come and they save her ass. And again, she's like, oh my goodness, thank you for saving me, but also how the hell did you find me? And Riot's like, excuse me, I told you that I will always find you when you run away. And so he was able to track her down, and he brings her to Blackout, which is a bar owned by another Lord, Tyson. Remember, I talked about Tyson in the beginning with his chosen and tying her down and watching her on cameras and whatever? That. Yep, Tyson. That guy. Love him. He's actually a really great dude in the end. So he brings Blakely to Tyson's, and during this time, Riot has a little tracker put into Blakely herself so that he'll literally always be able to find her. She's not getting away, not so easily. No, 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 no. So this happens. Whatever. Blakely is kind of back to normal. Everything's fine. Whatever. Um, and then her and Riot decide to stay in Blackout for a while. Like they take up residency there for a little bit. And one night, Sarah brings Blakely's car to Blackout so that, she can have some freedom, some semblance of normality. And Sarah forgets her phone inside or something. Like they go out to Blakely's car for something. And Blake's like, "Oh, it's cool. I'll drive you around to the like back entrance, whatever. Um, and I'll just wait for you here." And poor freaking Blakely, man, poor freaking girl. She's sitting there waiting, and she gets brutally attacked by none other than fucking asshole Matt. And he bashes her face into the steering wheel, and she he just leaves her there, but threatens her. Along with trying to like make her ugly so that Riot doesn't want to be with her. Nobody wants to be with her. Whatever. And he leaves after that. He's like, "Yep, okay, my job here's done, but like sleep with one eye open." And Sarah calls freaking Riot, freaking out. Actually no, Sarah doesn't call Riot. Tyson ends up calling Riot, and Sarah's freaking out and crying, and Tyson's like, "Yo, you gotta meet us at the hospital. Um, you know, something happened and whatever." So they go, and Blakely's in the hospital, and her dad ends up coming, and her father-in-law, Riot's dad, ends up coming, and somehow, some way, the truth comes out. I don't remember like what exactly led to this, but the truth comes out that Blakely's mom is not actually Blakely's mom, and that her mom was actually the woman that got killed on the assignment that Matt and Riot went on, where they killed the husband, and the wife ended up dying as well. And I don't remember where I was going with that thought, but it comes out that Blakely is her daughter, and her dad has always loved that woman. There we go. That's where I was going. And he had the arranged marriage to Valerie. Valerie? Vivian? Valerie? Yeah, that sounds right. Her her fake mom. Um, and that's, you know, why she's so dead set on like kind of making Blakely's life a living hell. Oops, I dropped something. But yeah. I'm gonna do my eyebrows off camera real quick. You know the drill. Probably my eyeliner too, and then I'm gonna come back and finish everything up because we're kind of getting to the end. But bear with me. I'm gonna fix up what I have to, and I will be right back. Okay, all of that's done. So back to what I was saying. So all of this truth comes out while Blakely is in the hospital. And this is all important information, okay? This is all, keep this in your mind. So Blakely and Riot eventually, they go home and they start settling back in, and everything is all fine and dandy, and they, become very much a couple. And they even start saying like the L word to each other because they're in lesbians. Just kidding. Um, but like they end up coming to terms with the fact that they actually do love each other despite everything. The fact that, Blakely was Riot's assignment, and initially, yeah, he was just gonna like use her and then be done. Um, but hi Bug. They end up falling in love, and that's super cool. But nobody has been able to track down Matt since he attacked Blakely. And that kind of is reason for concern. um so Matt's been out of the picture for a little while, and everyone's, kind of on edge. But Riot and Blakely have been freaking it nonstop since she's been back home, both from running away and also being attacked. And when Blakely ran away, she didn't take her birth control with her. And when she came back, Riot was like, well, you don't need it anyway. So Blakely ends up getting pregnant with Riot's baby. And one night, when Riot and Blakely come home from dinner, there is a unwanted guest in their house. Guess who that could be? Matt. So Matt is in the house and he's got a gun. And that's not cool. And he goes and he's threatening to kill Blakely. He's doing the whole if I can't have her, no one will. And freaking Riot jumps in front of the damn bullet and dies. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Literally, freaking hearing this, because at this point in the book, I was driving to work and sobbing because I was like, they were just starting to love each other, and but like it it's it's fine, everything's fine, I'm okay. uh and freaking, it's not like Riot got to kill Matt before Matt killed him. No, 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 no. Riot freaking sacrificed himself to save Blakely, and then she's pissed because Riot's not gonna be there, and she's freaking pregnant with this kid, and she didn't even get to tell him yet because she wanted to be sure. And Matt freaking kidnaps her, and he takes her away, and obviously Blakely is sick because she's having a baby, so she's going through like the morning sickness and stuff. But guess who's in on Blakely's freaking capture? None other than her fake mom, Vivian, and Valerie, whatever. I keep going back and forth. Her name is Valerie. I know this. Uh, but freaking Vivian, fucking come on, dude. Valerie. Where am I getting Vivian from? I don't know. I think in my head I'm like, that's more of a freaking evil villain name. Sorry to all the Vivians out there. I think you're really cool, but like, you know, you understand what I'm saying. But freaking Valerie is in on it, and she's like, no, you're not gonna to hurt her, cause she has an archer baby in her, and I'm gonna take it from her the minute that she gives birth to it, and I'm gonna have a second chance at, being a mom. And Blakely's like, the frick if you are? What do you mean? Like, you suck. And, so Matt's like, all right, fine, whatever. I guess I'll leave her alone until she gives birth to that and you take it away. And, Blakely is held captive in an unknown location, and Riot's freaking dead. No biggie. You know, it's all fine. Everything's fine. Except Riot's not dead. I literally was like holding my damn breath during all this. Because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way the book ends like this. Right can't die. No. Uh, so, yeah, good thing. Because Riot isn't dead. Yay! Yay, my boy. He's not dead. I love him. Um, my little deranged psycho man. My little obsessive freak. You're not dead. I love that. So, Riot's very much alive. And then, he obviously has been shot. So he's in the hospital. Um, but Gunnar and Sarah found him. And he wakes up and he's like, oh, where's Blakely? Where's Blake? I need to know. And everyone's like, we don't know. Matt took her. And he's like, give me my phone. And everyone's like, what? No, you're not listening. And he's like, give me my freaking phone. I know where Blakely is. Because he put the tracker in her. He wasn't going to lose her again after the first time. No, ma'am. No. He freaking tracks her down. And, obviously the doctor that the Lords have is like, Riot, you're not, no, sit your ass back down. You're not going anywhere. And Riot's like, the frick if I'm not? Like, my wife. He has my wife. What? So Riot goes, naturally, and he goes with Blakely's dad, and they go and they save the freaking day. Yay! I mean, there's a ton of drama and everything that goes on in between. But Riot and Blakely's dad end up saving her and taking her the hell out of there. And they have everything that they need to take Matt to confessional, which is where they essentially string up another lord and make them confess to the horrible misdeeds that they've done, and kill them in front of everybody. So Riot's got everything that he needs. He has everything set up for a confessional. He's got Matt up there. Also, way before this too, Riot has killed 2 other people for Blake. He's killed who he was supposed to marry, Cindy, and Matt's other girlfriend, Ashley. Yeah, he's killed both of them. So that was cool. But he had all the information that he needed from all of them. So now, during confessional, they also bring out Valerie because she's got all this information. She was all up in the plan with Matt. So she freaking comes on in. Well, she gets brought in. She's not really willingly. She's all freaking bound up and whatever. And she speaks up the whole plan, and they end up killing Matt. And I think they kill Valerie too. But the juiciest part is that during this confessional, guess who shows up? Leanne, Blake's mom. Like her real mom. The one that her dad's actually in love with and has been married to and whatever. She's like some freaking baddie in the Lords, and she's pretty high up there. And yeah. So she just struts on in like she was never dead. And it's just freaking bananas. I was like, what is happening right now? And Riot's freaking like slack jawed. Everybody's like, what? You were dead. Like, bleeding out on the freaking marble floors. Like, what are you doing? How are you here? How are you alive? Um, but everything was all copacetic. Blakely and Riot live happily ever after. Excuse me, happily ever after. Um, they end up having twins, and then later down the line, they have a daughter, and the sons are going to become lords, even though Blakely does not want that to happen whatso freaking ever. Um, and Blakely ends up going and meeting with Leanne before she has the kids. And Leanne's like, I did all of this for you. Like, that job that you had, that you ran off to, after Matt told you all this stuff, you got that job because of me. Nobody's gonna hire you without any ID or like proof of who the hell you are. And I don't remember what else. I think like Riot, like Mr. Blakely's dad choosing Riot to be the one that takes Blakely as a chosen. Like, that's such an odd way of phrasing things, but in the roundabout way, you understand. Um, she's like, yeah, I'm the reason that you were right, chosen. All of this, like, this was all my grand scheme, and it worked out perfectly. So, whatever. But Blakely's like, I don't trust you. I don't really know you. Maybe one day we'll be cool, but right now, you shut up. Shut the hell up. You don't know anything about me. And it is very much so everything that Leanne kind of foretold, because she's like, you're going to do the same things that I did for your children. And Blake ends up kind of coming to terms with that later down the line. And yeah, so that was a ritual. I was really all up in my feels once Riot got shot and was supposed to be dead. That really messed me up. But overall, I'm incredibly happy that freaking he didn't die and that they were able to kill Matt, because I could not stand Matt for the freaking life of me. Like, no, did not kill him already. But I'm glad I'm glad Matt's dead. He didn't deserve to live. He was a sorry son of a bitch. Uh, so yeah, oh yeah, we got to the monster anyway. Don't worry. Um, yeah. So I thought this book was a solid 8.5 out of 10. The next book in the series, well, so as far as I'm aware, all of these books in the series are independent but go together. So the next book in the series, although independent, still has things that tie in with the ritual, like they're happening in the same timeline. Um, but the Sinner, dude, I thought that that was going to be a book that I did not finish. I ended up finishing it last night. However, I thought that I was gonna have to hard stop. like foot on the freaking brake, put it in park, call it a day. Um, but I did finish it, and I'm glad that I saw it through. But we'll get into that when I talk about it. But yeah, this was a solid 8 of 10. I do recommend. Um, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Um, there are plenty of trigger warnings in the ritual. But if you, um, you know, don't mind trigger warnings or anything like that, I definitely recommend. I got very distracted by a text message that I got about work. So I'm very sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's all I have for you today. Next week we will return to our discussion of the Salacious Players Club series. Next up in the series is Give Me More. Right. I just talked about this. I should know. Yeah, so next up is Give Me More. Um, and yeah, after we talk about that, I'll probably talk about the Sinner. Eventually, I'll get to Her Soul's Take. Don't worry, I'll get there. Um, but Enchantra might jump the line for that because that book just came out. Literally, as I'm filming this, Enchantra just came out yesterday. So, I pre-ordered that and I'm reading it right now. I mean, not right now because I'm filming, but like, I was reading it before right now. And I'm going to continue reading it when I'm done. So, yeah, anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you made it this far in the video, comment. Hmm. Comment your favorite color. Mine's pink and yellow, but like, in case you couldn't tell, mine's pink. Um, and yeah, so I will see you guys next week, hopefully. Um, I mean, hopefully I'll be here, but I hope that you come back too. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and you have a lovely time, a lovely week until I see you next. And yeah, all right, thanks. Bye.